All right, I'd like to welcome everyone here today for our newest episode of Career Insights, where we give first-hand details of various careers for students to help them make that decision and get information about their future careers. So we'd like to thank Jagutis, who's here with us today. He's the Associate Director of Business Development at Quintiles in Wilmington, North Carolina. So thanks for joining us today, Jared. And our first question for you, how would you describe your career to someone else?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, my career it's something that's come up in the last 5 to 10 years in the medical industry, where we conduct clinical trials. So my company, we're a contract research organization that specializes in everything from preclinical work to all the way to marketing and commercialization of pharmaceuticals. My job is to sell our services, which is the monitoring, the total running, project management, execution of trials for large pharmaceutical companies such as Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Bayer Pharmaceuticals. My job is to go into them, sell our services everywhere from a lab, which is getting into very specifics, to more of just enrolling patients in a clinical trial, and then we help out with the submissions to the FDA so they can be marketed in the U.S. and around the world.
Oh, nice. All right, so what's an average day of work like for you?
My average day, generally, I work from my house. I have a home office. When I'm not traveling on the road, I travel approximately 3 to 4 days a week. I have a territory in the Northeast, so I will fly up there and have business meetings with specific clients based on need and projects that are currently running. My general day, specifically today, started around 5:30 in the morning. I have a lot of coworkers, colleagues that are in Europe, Asia, so you have to deal with their time zones. So that's one of the more challenging aspects, because you'll have late midnight calls or early morning calls. It's not every day that it's like that, but from generally it's 7:30 to 5 o'clock. Then you check emails, voicemails, and just respond when my kids go to bed. You do a lot of after-hours work. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a 40-hour week. You do work on the weekends every once in a while, but it's just based off your workload and how much activity that you have going on at that time.
Oh, and so what's the most surprising part of your career?
Most surprising part of my career has been, well, first of all, that my industry exists, that there's a need for a pharmaceutical company to outsource their operations to a company such as mine. It's been very difficult for me to understand the working environment within my company. We're 27,000 people worldwide. We're a very large organization. We're almost there's only one pharmaceutical company that has more employees than us, and we actually do all the outsourcing. So some of the more difficult and surprising parts is that on every given day I work with, specifically this morning, I had someone from South Africa, Belgium, France, the UK, the US, and I think I had someone from India on our call for our data management. So you're dealing with all different kinds of cultures, and being able to communicate with them on a daily basis in an effective way, because not everyone speaks as fast as I do or with an accent as I do. So it's being able to communicate and make sure that it's in a very efficient process, making sure those your message is distributed to all the people needed as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible.
So what qualifications are needed for your career?
Bare minimum, we have it's a business degree. I mean, not a business, excuse me, a bachelor's degree. I have a business degree in finance, so my specialty is more in the financial contracts, in dealing with the pricing of our products. A lot of my coworkers that are in the business development group, they have science backgrounds, so you can either be hired on either side. So it's either they can teach you the science or they can teach you the business. They're looking for a good mix so we can pull from each other. We're a team of about 40 in the U.S. And globally, so we pull from each other's experiences. So we have a nice mix. Generally, people will work on their masters. It's not required, but it helps out a lot. But from bare minimum, it is a bachelor's degree, and then some form of internship or work prior to coming to Quintiles. They do have a lot of it's either industry internships or working with a compatible or comparable company. That's what they look for, your experience prior to getting into this industry.
No, good. All right. Are there any important personal characteristics for success in your career?
I think one of the things that I learned very early, because essentially my job is it's business development, but it is sales. It's really dealing with how to understand failure and not to take it personally. Every day you're gonna achieve your goals, or you're also gonna have failures, and it's staying very neutral in your approach to things and not getting too high or not getting too low, where you can stay level-headed and be able to really be able to see what your true goal at the end of the year or end of the day is. I think that's it's being personal. I mean, I have to make a lot of phone calls to people I've never met before, and being able to strike up relationships very quickly. So it's staying on top of news events where you can talk about people in other countries and deal with them on a more personal level to build that relationship. But it is dealing with, I think, the hardest part and probably the most challenging is to think that you have to be able to adapt to every given situation, because I could be, and in most conversations I have, I'm the least educated person in the room, and being able to adjust to that, I think, has been is a pretty good characteristic, and it's very challenging also.
Yeah, good. And the last question, any words of advice you'd give students who are considering your career?
In my career, and then also in any career in particular, I would say make sure that you know that when you leave high school and you go into college, that everything follows you. Things you may do when you're 19 years old. In this age, I mean, I'm not that old, but I didn't have Facebook or well, Google was still pretty new when we were growing up. That you didn't be able to do searches for you. Employers look at those things, making sure that you have set your goal early. You don't have to be specific to say, I want to maybe go in an industry, or I want to try something out. Have an internship, network. Everyone you come in contact with, from a professor to a teacher to someone you meet on a plane, get a business card, get a name, get an email, stay in touch with these people. It's all about networking these days. I mean, and with the Facebook and all the Instagrams and all those different things, it's all about networking, and transform that into your business life if you want to go into a CRO as my company, or just anything. But it's all about networking. That's how you're going to get your foot in the door with any industry.
Oh, couldn't agree with you more. All right, well, Jared, thanks for your time. I appreciate you helping us out here, and be sure to check in next time for our next episode of Career Insights.